Hey everyone, you have reached the landing, OnePlanet's weekly meeting place for the entire Polygon NFT community. Every week at this time, you will learn more about the Polygon network, its native token Matic, and discuss the wonderful world of NFTs with some of the best and brightest minds from the NFT universe. And now, here's your host.
Planet's the place to be to showcase your NFTs. Best blockchain is Polygon. OnePlanet want to be on, yeah.
We have the Matic man in the house. We have Eric Choi in the house, and then we have Ashton here from Signed.Trade. So welcome, guys. And I think today we'll have less listeners than usual. I feel like people are already starting to take some time off for the holidays. But overall, I wanted to still get together, and talk with you guys, talk with some of our listeners here, and discuss more in specific the music in Web3, right? And how that culture and that technology, continues to grow within the ecosystem that we're building. And that's where we have Signed.Trade here, Ashton, to join us to share a little bit more in specific about what they're working on. Matic Man, you work a lot with sound as well, with the videos that you make and the music that you produce. So I think that's going to be exciting to hear more about what you have going on there. So let's get started here with a question, since we are talking about music, NFTs, Web3. I'm curious to know how many of the people here in attendance today own a music NFT. If you do own one, in the comments, share which one it is. If you don't own one, share why you don't. I'm just curious to see where we are with that. I do own one, and I was actually gifted it from Joseph, a friend that was working on Avatar.fun, which was kind of like a MySpace for Web3, where you can create a profile and you can share your NFTs, share your badges or your soulbound tokens, your POAPs, and at the same time, you can also share music NFTs that you owned. And so what I'm going to do in the comments here is I'm going to link the music NFT that I own. It's actually a pretty cool song too. He let me choose which one I wanted. So that was really nice of him. Unfortunately, it looks like Avatar.fun has stopped building since they couldn't get any funding. But still, I had a good experience with that software. So I just shared mine. If you guys want to share yours, that would be cool as well. I want to say hi and check in with Eric Choi. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me as usual.
Yeah, man, of course. Definitely. And then Ashton, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, while we were talking about the Twitter music, the whole time I'm thinking, sounds like we need to collect on some new kind of royalties.
Okay. So do you mean like integrating royalties like directly to
No,
Twitter?
well, I mean distribution. So what we do is we collect royalties on all major stores. Anything that you listen to music on, there's a royalty to collect and pay out to stakers of a musician token.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's what I want to dive deeper into your project in specific today, because I know that you guys have something that is very integrated, I would say, right? That the way that you collect those royalties and then through your own token you distribute to artists, which is something that's new for me, something that I had not seen before. We have another comment here from Eric. You say you haven't had a chance to learn about the utility around owning music NFT. So hopefully Ashton can help us out with that, since he's working with artists. And if there's any listeners here that are just tuning in, if you own a music NFT, share it in the comments. I'm curious to know which ones you own. If you don't, share why not. I'm also curious to know, some reasons why people haven't started to get into those music NFTs. Um, so Ashton, why don't we get started here with a introduction about you, who you are, how you got into the music space, and then give us a brief overview about your platform.
Hello, everyone. Ashton here. So I got into the music space just being a fan of music. It's a huge passion of mine. It's something that I do every day. I listen to music every day. I'm always looking for the next underground musician. And a part of me has seen so many musicians rise and been a little upset that I couldn't financially grow with them. I wish I could have blown up in a way with these musicians. If I could have invested into them like I could into like a stock of Tesla, I would be a rich man. So I started thinking, why isn't that possible? Why can't I invest into the music sales of a musician if I see that they have the potential? Why can't I invest into a musician like a label can or an institution? How come only institutional labels can invest in music? It seems outdated and it seems like it's not fair to so many underground musicians who get overlooked because they're not picked even though they have the fans. So I started looking into how to build it, and that's where we got with Signed. I've created this market kind of in a selfish way for myself, but it's a working model, and we're at a great place now with over 70 musicians signed and distributing music with us and paying out investors.
Nice. Okay, okay. And you do make a great point there where this model that you're creating is going to directly help the fans, right? The community that these artists are making
Yes,
to
yes.
also
One of the
grow
musicians on my
together.
platform, Joey, he's had a lot of success using our platform. I was talking with him last week, and he's told me many times fans have come up to him after shows and said, "Man, I made a good amount of money off of investing into you. Awesome work. I love the album." So it's cool to see that happening in person. It's already working.
Yeah, exactly. And that is going to be super helpful to onboard new users into blockchain technology in general, right? Just
Yeah,
that initial education about how the technology continues to support artists directly and kind of taking out that the middleman that takes a huge percentage away from the artist, right?
exactly.
There still has to be some software to allow a marketplace to exist between that to make it easier user experience, right? But there's still a more direct relationship where there's more upside for the artist and also the
Right.
fans and the
No,
community.
I think that our platform is a perfect example of the combination of Web 2 and Web 3. I think that is the future for a lot of crypto businesses, is the combination of these two models. And I say that because we distribute music to Web2 platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, all of these things. We collect the royalties made from these platforms, and then we use Web3 to distribute the investment and funding back to fans and investors. So it's a perfect marriage of using Web2 models to pay out investors using Web3.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to check in with Matic Man here. I know that you produce a lot of music. I'm curious about what made you get into that. I know you do the writing and you kind of help put videos together and all of that. So, what, how did you get into that? What made you want to pursue that as well?
Edwin, I love my brother, but we are about as opposite as can be. And when I was growing up, he had a heavy metal rock band he started, and he called it Blizzard. They were pretty good if you like that genre of music. And so I went the opposite. I was big into rap and hip hop, and I remember back in the day going to big rap concerts and being the only Caucasian there. But I've always loved rap music, hip hop music. I love music. I love writing, making beats. And so, yeah, I'm excited. Like, it's almost like being a parent, like producing a beat and then writing lyrics. I don't sing though, I don't do vocals. So, like, I use like freelancers to do the vocals. And so I've sent off 2 songs in the last week and then just waiting for the song to come back. It's really exciting. And I'm excited that the Matic Man has partnered with Sign.Trade, and I have right now about 15 songs that I've uh, written and produced, and he's already uploaded I think maybe 7 of those songs, and so we're excited. We're going to have some vocalists that are singing under the Matic Man label as well. So we're excited about, and I've loved getting to know Ashton in the last 2 weeks. He's really passionate about what he's doing. He's really well versed in the industry, very, very articulate about what he's doing, and he's a Polygon person. That's how we connected a couple of weeks ago. He's getting they've been working more on the Binance chain, and they're coming into Polygon now. And he can tell you how they pay out their royalties. I love what they're doing with the royalty payments.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Matic Man, by the way, unofficial date for launch is January 1st. I'm going to be going into that pre-sale myself. I'm a big believer of the Matic Man token, but other than that, very excited for it. Our system is very unique with how the royalty payouts work. So essentially what happens is we get paid in USD from all platforms, the ones I mentioned earlier. We convert this USD into Matic, and then we use this Matic to add liquidity and pay out stakers of each musician token. So by investing into a musician token, you are both investing into Matic and the musician at the same time. So a musician that gets paid out more in royalties is going to have a bigger pool of Matic backing that token. It's a larger share in the future of both Matic and the musician. So it's literally investing into both the future of the Polygon network and the musician simultaneously.
I like that you're also allowing the creators to have a little bit more independence, right? Like you're saying that each of them have their own token.
Yeah, so we create every single musician their own token on the Matic chain. They're all tethered to Matic. And they pick how valuable they want the asset to be. So every single track that backs a token, you can see on our platform, if you click on each musician, you can see what tracks back and pay out investors and what percent. So they can pick down to the percent how much they want to back their token with. Now, obviously, the more music you have backing a token, the more likely you are to have investors purchase it, as there's a larger chance for a higher return that comes back to them. But it's all up to the musician. There's no 360 deal, and they always keep their intellectual property and masters. So we never own the musician or any of who they are. They simply choose a pick of the pie of how much the streaming and publishing royalties they'd like to go back to the investors, and all of this royalties is going into Matic.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, just a quick question. So if I'm a fan of an artist in that platform, is the way for me to support that artist is to purchase his or her token that's issued on Polygon network?
That's exactly right. You would purchase their token and then stake it. So every musician has their own liquidity pool and staking. And I would like to make it clear that we actually are not making NFTs, we're making tokens. But yes, you would purchase their token and then you would stake it. By staking it, you will now begin making token dividends from the royalties that are earned on tracks. So you're directly making money every single time royalties pay out, the price increases, and you're paid in token dividends. So it's up to the investor if they want to sell for liquidity or keep it staked to auto compound and earn more shares in that musician. They also have their own tax fees and everything. So if a lot of people are buying and selling or trading the musician's token, that potential future of the payout, you're earning more on this as well. They are all their own ERC Elite tokens. It's pretty amazing. What we built here is essentially a new music stock market.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I'm seeing that too, right? Like the independence of each of the artists coming in and essentially creating their own ecosystem around their music with their own token, and then just using your platform as kind of like an aggregator, right? A distribution platform where they can use the community that you built with other artists as well there, and have some exposure from others' successes as well. So that looks pretty cool. I'm curious about what the. Oh, go ahead, Matic Man. You got a question here.
Yeah, I was going to ask Ashton, do you see what you're doing, as somewhat of a tool for like angel investors? Like in other businesses, you see a promising company and you want to get in early. In the same vein, you see a promising musician and you want to help them, grow.
That
so you get in early.
Exactly what it is. It's giving musicians the opportunity to have anyone be their angel investor. The problem with the music industry, a big problem, is it's very limited to who gets to be your investor. It's all of the majors, which is a problem. It should be open to retail investors too, any fan that would want to share it. And using this model, they don't have to put all of their chips on the table in order to get an investment. They don't have to give up their masters and IP. They can choose what they want to offer up for what the investors are willing to invest into them for. But that's exactly right. I mean, it's like if you could find a share on a market like mine into someone who was going to be the next Nirvana, it would be a great investment. Like I said, we're already seeing it with Joey. We put out an album that went viral. Investors have already seen 4 or 5x returns, at one point a 25x. So it's pretty cool to see people making money from having the right music taste.
We've mentioned a few different genres today. I'm curious about what is one of your favorite categories or genres, and then maybe a little bit more detailed if you have any specific artists that you like listening to. Department 77 like some calm death metal. So, that's an interesting one there. What do you guys like? Share that in the comments. And one question that I had here for Ashton is, what is the onboarding process like for the artist, and how much education do you provide it for them to know how to set up all the things they need to set up to integrate their art, their music with blockchain technology and having an LP and a token and all that?
Onboarding is extremely easy. All you have to do is give us your music. You can ask Matic Man. It's very, very easy. We are very easy to work with. Once we have your music and we have the contracts signed that say that royalties will always pay out investors, every single song that we have through our track, there is an agreement of distribution that is signed on both parties. So a musician cannot, if they blow up down the line, run away and say, I don't want those royalties to pay out to investors anymore. And you can also check and click on every single song that we distribute. At the bottom of the page, you'll see Signed has distributed it. But anyway, it's easy. You give us the music cover art, we distribute it. The type of information and training we give them is we teach them the basics of MetaMask, how to connect their wallet to the website, and a basic understanding of how the token works. Now, the more a musician asks, the more that we will tell them, but we have a lot of musicians, so we can only give a limited amount of education to them. We have plenty of YouTube videos and things to explain things, but we give them the general gist of what they need to know in order to get investors and kind of have the right tools in their disposal to get out there and explain correctly why they should invest in this token when it really does. But it's hard to get into all the details of everything, but a basic general understanding of how the token works and MetaMask and everything is what we provide to every single musician.
Go ahead, Matic Man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've just been so amazed and impressed by how efficient that Sign.Trade has been. I had a production company in the U.S. I'm Tony, but my real name's Anthony, and my production company is called Ant B Productions. And so I've produced some music through Ant B Productions in the past, and getting the music on all of the platforms, it actually costs money. And usually I pay anywhere from $200 to $600 to get that process taken care of. And with Ashton and Sign.Trade, he has the Matic Man music on like all of the major platforms. Didn't charge me anything. Did it very quickly. It was just really a seamless process for the from the musician side. It was just very efficient. So impressed, Ashton.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's something that is because of economies of scale. We have deals with distribution companies that makes it very cheap for us to get everything out quickly. And we also have ways to get publishing royalties for very cheap. So if you have over 1,000 monthly listeners, we can do any distribution for free. Underneath that, it's only $20 a year. And in order to get publishing royalties, that's going to cost you at least $200 a year. So if you're a musician out there and you're interested, feel free to DM. But yeah, I mean, this system that we built going forward in the future, I don't see any reason to use an independent distributor like a DistroKid or United, because those royalties that sit in your DistroKid bank, they're just sitting there, not accumulating or becoming an asset that grows. It makes no sense. What you should be doing is you should be putting these royalties onto your own token that grows with Polygon over time and also allows for any public investor to also put their money towards that shared future.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think as the space continues to grow, more artists are going to be able to realize the potential that exists here, right? And a lot of that comes from like word of mouth from artists that are here in the space now. And trying out this technology and seeing the benefits that this brings for them, and being able to educate their peers as well, right, on what that means. I think that's going to really help support the next wave of users for this tech. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I think the whole model makes a lot of sense. Do you have any plans for onboarding like Web2 music fans onto Signed.Trade, or are you mostly relying on like infrastructure improvement, like a smoother onboarding experience with or without using MetaMask, for example?
Yep, that's actually, you're hitting the nail on the head there. So we're raising funding right now for an upgraded 2023. We've raised about 43K right now. If you guys want to go check that out, it's our pinned tweet. We're selling NFTs, a large percentage of our fee splitter for each NFT holder. So if you're bullish on the future of Sign, you get an NFT, you'll get the largest percent of our fee splitter that would be possible. You'll get passive Sign income for life forever. Um, but the funding that we're raising here is for exactly that, seamless integration from Web 2 and Web 3. And when I say that, I mean custodial wallets. Matic is being swapped and traded without the user even knowing it. My mom can take a debit card and invest $10 of shares in Joey without having to buy MetaMask, figure out how to buy Matic, figure out how to swap, make it much, much easier. I was with an investor the other day, and she wanted to put 1,000 into this musician, and she ended up doing it, but it took her 15 minutes. She had to download MetaMask. She had to figure out this. She had to call her bank. It was a whole show, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be seamless, and it's possible. We just need the funding. With this funding that we're going to have, we're going to build it, and once we build it, we are going to partner with either an accelerator, a label, or hopefully Polygon, so that we can get a partnership to get us a AAA musician to really get this platform into the light. Because we've got the musicians, we've got the working model. It's a platform that is growing and works. It's just a matter of getting it into the right hands now with the right eyeballs on top of it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I do think that we're still experiencing a time where it's hard to invest in projects unless you see the utility that those projects will bring, right? And I think that you already have a working concept, right? So you can show what the benefits will be for artists as you continue to scale. And I think that would make it easier for investors to see the potential that exists there. One question that I wanted to ask here as well is if these artists, in order for them to continue to use the benefits of blockchain and what you're creating for them, they need to have their own kind of community and their own onboarding process, right? Not just what you're doing with your platform, but they need to do their own thing, their own experiences. What have you seen them do? Are have you seen how they have been able to turn their Web2 communities, let's say, into a Web3 community? Are you seeing any strategies there?
Yes, I've seen a couple of musicians who put out tutorials and things, or share the tutorials we made on their Instagrams and things like this. But in my opinion, this is a flaw. It's not a perk. And this goes back to what we're trying to build in 2023. We want to make it seamless. We don't want to have to build a whole new community on top of an already existing community. They should be able to take the community of fans they already have and seamlessly have them invest into their token without them having to realize that they're doing all this extra stuff. Now, obviously, if you're already into Web3, you can use your MetaMask and you can bypass fees and invest directly this way. But it's hurting the musician by having them to convert all of their fans into Web3 users if they want to invest in their favorite artist. You should still give Web2 users the same ability at a fee to invest in a musician. So that's not necessarily our strategy here, is to make all of their fans also huge Web3 enthusiasts. The strategy is to make it so that their fans can, as easily as possible, invest into the musician.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, actually. And we see that with just regular NFT projects, right? Where those lines essentially need to start to get more blurred in a way. Like right now, there is a big separation between Web 2 and Web 3. But as we continue to move forward with using blockchain in the back end, it does seem like the best way to help onboard people is to not create such a division, right? And I think that comes from different things, and one of those is infrastructure, having having ways to have somebody support a fan with just a credit card, right? Without having to use MetaMask or cryptocurrency. So I think we're getting there for sure. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I might be wrong here, but as far as I know, the artists can set up their own token when they get onboarded to Sign.Trade. I'm curious how you guys are helping them set up their token. I also think you also mentioned that they can set up their own value of the initial value of their token. Is there a like standard way for you to set up the value, like a proper value of the artist's token initially?
Yeah. So in the pre-sale, this is where the initial liquidity is found and the initial price per share. So what's very key for musicians, and I try to stress this, is they start pre-sale very strong with a lot of music backing the token. So if you need to release music through us before you start pre-sale, that's fine. But the initial value of the token will be what music is actually backing it, and then the liquidity that will make the pre-sale and the token actually have a market cap and value is from initial investors backing that initial track. Now the asset grows as musicians continue to put more music through us, and whatever they want to put through us, that may affect the price down the line. But initially, this is what the investor is putting into, and what the price reflects is what the potential value and future of these tracks may be.
And another thing that I was curious about is what kind of feedback you've been getting from artists in specific towards using your platform as opposed to other platforms like SoundCloud.
Well, so we're not competing with SoundCloud. Every musician that is on our platform, actually, we don't even distribute to SoundCloud. They can have SoundCloud. They don't pay any royalties. So we are not competing with Spotify or Apple Music or Deezer or Tidal. They are our partners, not our competitors. We get the music out on these streaming platforms. So musicians love this because we're not making them not put their music there. We're putting it there for them and collecting the royalties that is made off of these platforms and having this payout to the investor. So they really like it, because it's not interfering with their branding or anything. It's simply helping them make more money from what DistroKid pays out or other independent distributors. You guys aren't familiar, but there are these things called DistroKid and United Masters, and basically they will put your music out to all major streaming platforms. But your royalties, they just sit into a bank provided by this distributor, and they don't do anything. This is essentially creating kind of like a 401k for Matic for the royalties that anyone else can invest in. It's helping to grow the value of the royalties without them just sitting there stagnantly, not moving.
Yeah, that is interesting. So essentially, you're kind of like an aggregator, right? You're bringing the let's say like the listens from different platforms into your platform, and then from there being able to distribute that out to a
So
specific
with
investor.
the listens are money, basically. We get the listens from all these different platforms. Every play is a cent. The more money plays that you get, the more that pays out to investors of each musician's token, and it increases the price per share of a musician's token. So we're not competing with like Spotify or Apple Music. We collect money that they pay us for the listens each musician gets. And then depending on which musician gets the most listens, they will have the highest price per share, and they will have the most paid out to investors from the music. And then based off of this, you'll see trading happening within the token itself, people kind of speculating what they think the future of the next payout will be. And all the while, guess who's getting paid from every single trade? The musician.
Very cool. And I wanted to open up the floor for listeners here. If anybody has any questions, definitely come up. I think this is a good opportunity to continue to learn about music and Web3. How do you guys benefit from this? Where do you guys get the value?
Yeah, so good question. Our sign token is where we get the value. So what our sign token is it's basically an ETF. What this means is all the musician tokens on our platform go directly into your wallet if you invest into the sign token. You have to have at least 5,000 stake sign or more. The more you have, the higher the percent of the ETF. So if you don't want to have to invest in one musician or kind of guess on which musician you think will blow up, you can get all of their tokens in your wallet with just one investment with the sign token and 1% of all royalties earned. So the more musicians on the platform, the better for us and the value of our ETF. Also, we take a small fee off of the 5% buy sell tax that each musician token has, and that goes back to ETF investors. So the value of Sign token is directly correlated with the growth and value of all the other musician tokens, as it is essentially just one investment into all of them.
That's really interesting. Go ahead, Matic, man.
You know, it's amazing the opportunities and the doors that Web3 is opening for innovation. There's a organization, a company project we're talking with that's new to Polygon, and they're doing something similar to what Ashton's doing with Signed.Trade, but not in the music industry. It's in the sports industry, and they have NFTs where you can invest in promising young athletes. It's really a unique value proposition, and they have several athletes that are signed right now, because when you're just getting started on the professional tour, whether it's tennis or golf, there's not a lot of money being made, and there's a lot of expenses. So anyways, an interesting slant. So much that can be done. I know Ashton's using tokens on NFTs, but so much that can be done in the Web3 space.
Yeah, and that's what I'm excited about, right? Just to continue to see how NFTs are being integrated into all the media that exists and entertainment. And I think that that's one thing that we've noticed this year, is that there needs to be some kind of entertainment for these projects to survive long term, right? And maybe not just entertainment, but there can be educational content as well. Or, I mean, we're talking about music here today, but there has to be something in the back um, of these assets that we're getting in order for them to survive long term. If not, if it's more superficial things, I think, or just saying that it is a community project, I think it makes it hard to continue to have like a long-term belief in the project. So that's what excites me about seeing how new creators are coming to the space and trying things out, right, and innovating. I wanted to check in with Meme Gods here again. I see that you got brought up. Did you have a comment or question?
Um, Hello, thank you.
Yeah, what's going on?
Um, just having a cool day. Well, I'm happy that I'm on this space. I'm learning a lot just listening, and I like to. I have a question about music NFTs, and the question is this: Do does the music NFT um, hold the rights to, let's say, your publishing and your masters, and yeah, something like that?
Well, for signs, we don't do NFTs, first of all, but second of all, you do get a percent of the streaming and publishing royalties, yes. But this is dependent on the musician when it comes to publishing. We only collect publishing on musicians that get a certain amount of plays, otherwise, it's not really worth it. But for our platform, you get both streaming and publishing royalties paid out to you in token dividends every time we collect royalties from major streaming platforms.
Thank you for that question. Appreciate it. Um, One other question that I had here for you, since you are creating a platform here, what do you see in the next 6 to 12 months in the music and in Web3 industry that's growing here? What kind of vision do you have on this continued growth of the space?
Yeah, so I have actually two visions. I have my 1 year goal and my 5 year goal. Within this 1 year, my large vision is to get that partnership I was talking about earlier with either an accelerator, a label, or Polygon. Hopefully, I will be able to get one of those by Q2 of next year after we have a polished product, or potentially even before then, who knows? We're starting to get traction. Once we get that, I'm hoping to get a AAA musician on the platform, someone big that will bring in eyes. We need someone like that to hit our goal of 1,000 musicians on the platform by end of year. So my goal in 1 year is to have 1,000 musicians on the platform by the end of the year and to collect at least 100,000 or more music sales. 5 year goal is this is a market that can work with any kind of internet creative. I'm talking about YouTubers, Twitch streamers, OnlyFans. All of these people are small brands in the internet that have a passive income that can be put up on a free market for other people to invest in that future. So I see this becoming almost like a new kind of stock market where if you see, it's the new stock market for the small individual brand creative, for the internet creative, for the YouTuber, for the Twitch streamer, for the OnlyFans, the musician. They all can be basically little stocks in this market that can be backed by passive income that they decide to, and people can invest in that same future and speculate.
Got it. And so your platform, is it already profitable?
Yes, it is. It's already profitable. We're already, we're already making a profit. We've been making a profit since about March, and we started in February.
Nice. Okay, that's great to hear, that you are essentially taking care of your business already through the software that you're creating here. As we're seeing a lot of projects, as I mentioned earlier, um, having a hard time finding different sources of revenue to kind of keep afloat, and so it's cool to hear that you found some success here. You mentioned about benefiting, or having some value accrual through the ETF and the signed token. Um, are there ways for users of your platform to create their own ETFs rather than have every single artist that exists on your platform being able to just pick 5 or 10 different artists that they like?
No, but that is something I've thought about. Like, what if you could invest in just a specific music genre, like a rock and roll ETF or a rap ETF, which is something I've thought about, and it could be cool. But no, that doesn't exist yet. But that's something to look towards. That could be cool. I think that there's not enough musicians yet, really, to have that be worth it. I think right now it's all in or not at all, or just a couple musicians. But I think once you start scaling to having thousands of musicians, that would be something to look back towards and implement. But I think right now it would be too tedious and too much work for something that wouldn't really be used that much, because there's only 60 musicians. So, I mean, you might as well just get all of them if you're trying to be picky. But that is a good idea, and I have thought about it specifically with investing in specific genres of music.
Gotcha. Yeah, it does make sense right now. As you're saying, you're still looking to continue to scale, but um, I think that just having that ability, you mentioned the stock market right earlier, so I'm thinking, where are the growth artists, where are the value artists, where are the techie artists and different things. But I think genre specific makes sense as well. So that would be interesting later on to see if you are able to implement that. Go ahead, Matic Man.
Meme Gods asked a question and I'd really like to know the answer to it. Maybe Ashton knows. I'm a little bit fuzzy about what owning a music NFT, the rights that gives you. Do you have IP rights? Do you know, Ashton, the answer to that question? That was a great question by Meme Gods.
Well, I like I said, I don't work in the realm of NFTs, and we kind of make it a bragging right on our platform that musicians don't have to give up their masters or IP. They're splitting just a piece of their streaming and publishing rights. Because I mean, you give up your masters and IP, you're basically giving up who you are as an artist. But for some NFTs, I just talked to a guy before I got on this call. They raised $90K for an NFT, and it was only for streaming royalties on the album. They didn't even get the masters of the IP, which is like pretty insane considering the guy only had like 100 monthly listeners. So I don't know all of them. I don't know, because like I said, I don't deal with NFTs. I'm in the token market. But from the one conversation I had earlier today, no. But I don't know. I don't know for all cases. I'm sure there are markets that do that.
Yeah, that is definitely a good question, and I think that there's going to be different artists that would like different models as well, right? Like we have Ashton here with Sign that is working on the token models, and then we'll have our other artists that will focus more on NFTs. Uh, but yeah, I'm sure that there's different licenses that come along with that, right? And some artists will be willing to let go of everything, and some artists are going to hold on to as much as they can, but still be able to include their communities in the growth of their own of their own platform, their own personal brand. Go ahead.
Edwin, you hit the nail on the head about with NFTs, the need for utility. And I'm seeing with some music NFTs that they're offering like IRL opportunities, like maybe a metaverse concert with your favorite artist, the POAP and things of that nature, where there's some real utility attached to having the and some exclusive events and that type thing. So the future of music in Web3 is fascinating to me. I think we've just scratched the surface. We've just seen the tip of the iceberg so far.
Yeah, there's a couple of IRL use cases that we've seen with our own token as well. For example, we're going to be sponsoring a show out in January that Joey's going to be at, and we're going to sell exclusive Joey merch, and you'll get a 10% discount if you pay with the one man token to purchase the shirt.
The Woken, you come up as a speaker. How are you doing today? Do you have a comment or question?
Good morning. I've been having troubles with spaces this morning. You able to hear me all right?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to direct a question to Ashton. I really love this disruptive technology. I think that what you're putting together here has huge potential. I was wondering, where is the token available to be purchased at the moment, and where would you find it?
Yeah, so if you hit the link in bio, it will open the market to all of the different tokens on our platform. Now, when you say the token, I'm assuming you mean the Sign native token. You just
Yeah.
search Sign into the search bar, will pop up. You can purchase there. I think it's 27 cents a token right now. We had we had like a 30% jump in price over the past week, which is pretty nice to see. But yeah, that's where you buy the native Sign token. That's also where you can buy any other musician token, and you can see every single track that backs every single token there as well.
And you're buying in what currency?
You're buying
Is
in
it
Matic.
USD?
Everything is in Matic.
Oh,
We
it
will
is in
be
Matic.
selling for Wrap Matic for every token as well.
Okay, and the artist, is the royalties paid for any live productions that they do as well?
Yeah,
And
so this is where the publishing comes into play. So we use a platform called BMI. You can look them up, BMI royalties. So live productions and things of this nature, we collect royalties on this also, but only for specific musicians, the bigger ones, as it's a waste of time and money to do this for smaller musicians. But once they pass a certain threshold in plays or listens, we provide this to them all pro bono. Whereas most places you have to pay at least $200 to $400 a year as a musician to do this.
yeah, sorry, I jumped in a little bit late and I was preoccupied, so I've
No,
been
it's all
trying to
right.
piece
Yeah,
it
so
all
it's streaming and
piece it
publishing
together.
royalties for every musician, or publishing is only for certain musicians, but streaming for all of them, and then streaming and publishing for, I think it's like maybe 20 out of the 60.
And do you have a vetting process for the artists, or are you opening it up to all and sundry to access the platform?
I want this to be a platform for any musician to get investors if they can get them. Now, we are going to have to make it so that if you don't have a certain amount of listeners, you're going to have to pay at least $20. But as of now, if you have over 1,000 monthly listeners, we'll take you on for free and distribute all of your music free of charge. You just need to put at least 30% or more of your streaming and publishing royalties through your token.
Right. Okay. Thanks very much for answering the questions. It's like I say, I've got a friend that's looking at doing something similar in the movie industry, and I think what you guys are venturing into could possibly, be very disruptive. So thanks very much for answering.
Thank you for the questions.
Yeah, thank you, The Woken. Appreciate that. One last question that I have here is, what made you build on Polygon?
So the reason we built on Polygon is it's really initially it was strictly a business decision, but as time has gone on, I'm really glad I did it. Considering I see them in some ways similar to Sign, just in the fact that they seem to be hyper focused on Web2 integration, which I think is the future of crypto. But we chose Polygon because of how cheap it was to create tokens for a musician and the gas fees. Our platform is all about scaling, and ETH was just way too expensive and slow. So we had to find the best alternative, and that happened to be Matic.
Got it. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I do always find that interesting, just to see the reasons why creators are building in Polygon, and then, I mean, I've been seeing more projects also migrate, right? There are other scaling solutions for ETH, but there are still projects that still decide to they start building in another chain and then decide to migrate over. So I find that interesting too. And as you're saying, when it comes to scaling with your platform, if you're adding more and more artists and you're creating more tokens, that creates more opportunity for taking advantage of the chain, right, and the infrastructure that Polygon provides. I wanted to check in with the listeners one last time. If anybody's got some questions, definitely come on up. I want to give a shout out to some of the listeners here. We got King, who's one of our mods. Thank you for stopping by, sir. Polygon Punks community, thank you guys. Ghost, as always, thank you. We got some new listeners that I haven't seen before. Khalil, we got CryptoCat.
That might be my community.
Thank you. Nice. It's great to have you guys here. Yeah, if you're an artist or if you have any comments on your experience, definitely come on up. Matic, man, any last thoughts for you and any last questions that you have here?
Yeah, like I said, I've really enjoyed getting to know Ashton and his project Signed.Trade. I think is innovative, his up and coming project, and I really appreciate his passion. And I know Ashton, you guys just reached a milestone with. Can you explain just real briefly that Kickstarter program that you're involved with? And I know it was really exciting. You reached a milestone, and maybe some ways that the community could help push this project forward.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier, part of our white paper for 2023 is getting funding to make a seamless integration for Web2 users. We're currently going through that funding period. We have a partner called Sidekick Finance. They have recently launched a platform called Jumpstart. This is basically like a Kickstarter, but with NFTs as the tier instead of just, rewards that don't really, you could not actually give it out, right? Well, this is different with the NFT. We reached our milestone of reaching a minimum of 30K raised. Our goal is 100. We're at 43,000 raised. We have 4 days left for the raise. And what we're offering is a big chunk of our fee splitter, the signed fee splitter. There's a 5% buy sell tax. 10% of that is being distributed amongst the NFT holders. So if you wanted to accrue passive sign income, this is the chance to do that and get a huge piece of it. There are 3 tiers available. The first one has sold out, the $2,000 one, the Grand Maestro. But we still have the Maestro, which is $1,000, and the Frontman, which is $250. Now, what's cool about the Maestro, the $1,000 NFT, is we're also giving 9% redistribution of the funding raised back to this investor in USDC. So it's actually discounted right now. I think it's actually like half off from how many have been minted, because it hasn't been sold out. There's 50 minted. I think about 14 have been minted. So out of those 14, they're splitting 9% of the funding raise, 9% of 43,000. And they're getting a huge chunk of that fee splitter as well for life. Not to mention other perks such as getting 50% off to our live shows and a signed t-shirt, early access to future updates, and things of this nature. So we really could use our support in the funding right now. We're giving a huge piece of our revenue made from the signed fee splitter back to investors. And if you get the Grand Maestro, you're getting a discount automatically by mentioning that NFT.
That's really cool that you are giving early investors an opportunity to grow along with your platform as well, similar to how you're doing it with artists and their communities. I think that adds value to the NFTs, right? Eric, any last thoughts, comments from you?
Yeah, I really appreciate Ashton for answering all my questions and sharing everything about Signed.Trade today. I learned a lot about hearing from what you have to say today and asking questions to you. So thank you and best of luck in the future.
Thank you, Eric. It was nice to have a chat with you.
Woken, you got any last comments here?
No, I think I'll just explore a little bit further. I see there's previews of the artists on the website there, so you can get to see what the sound that they're creating, and it's just a bit of exploration. Fantastic. Good luck with everything in your endeavors in the future. Thank you for having me up.
Yeah, thank you. I think if you look too, you'll notice they all have their own staking mechanism. You can see how much royalties each individual artist has paid out so far, and you can see every single track or album that is backing each token. And actually, we're using Spotify API, so if you click on that track, it will bring it to you in Spotify, and if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see Signed as the distributor for every single track.
Yeah, I love that integration of Web 2 to Web 3. That's like you mentioned. I think it's integral for the future of the space. So, congratulations. I really enjoy it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Ashton, any last thoughts from you? Any last action items that you want our listeners to take here to support you?
Yeah. I would just say, we have 4 days left with this race with the NFTs. If you like what you heard today, if you like the future of Signed, the best way to get in and earn passive income from our shared growth would be to get an NFT. It's really going to help our platform in this next 2023 year, and it's a good investment for you as an investor if you believe in the future of Sign. You're going to get a huge percent of passive Sign from the fee splitter, and you're really helping out the project. So go check out those NFTs, guys.
Awesome. Well, Ashton, it's been a pleasure talking to you and getting to know your project better. So thank you for stopping by. I also want to give a shout out to Department 77 and the crypto crew here and their community for hanging out with us. A couple of things from the OnePlanet side. We have a new tab. It's called the events page. If you guys head there, you can see that we have two that are live right now. One is for the Tower token listing mega events, and the other one is for the random box reveal by Derby Stars. That's live right now. So that's one of the new features that we have created within OnePlanet, the reveal function. So any new project that is going to be going through our launchpad is going to be able to use that tool and that mechanism. And so we're excited about that, and just looking forward to see what creators come up with and how they use this tool. But with that, thanks everybody for spending this last hour with us. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and you have a Merry Christmas. We have that coming up in a few days, and we'll be back next week, same day on Wednesday at 11 p.m. UTC, and we'll be talking with some more friends. But thanks again, everybody. Appreciate your time, and happy holidays. That's right.
Thanks for joining us for The Landing, OnePlanet's weekly meeting space. Please join us again next week at the same time.